Hey everybody, Happy New Year! I'm wondering if you've made any New Year's resolutions. New Year's Eve, just after midnight, Sarah turned to me and asked me that question. Are you making any New Year's resolutions? And I said, what? Are you implying that I'm not perfect as I am? And no, that's not what actually happened. But I am going to work this year on not overreacting. I've realized that over the last little while that a lot of my problems, a lot of the things that upset me, a lot of the things that cause me grief over most days come from the fact that I just react to things. I react too quickly, I react without thinking, I am just reactionary, and I'm realizing that being reactionary is not necessarily a good thing. When you're reacting to people or events or things that are happening, when you're just reacting, several things are taking place. Number one, you're not going to react well. You're not going to do your best when you're just being reactionary. And number two, you're letting other people control your emotions and what's going on. And so I've made a decision to not be so reactionary this year. And not only have I made that decision, but I've made two ways to make that decision come true, two ways to make that actually happen. I've put a couple of things in place that will help me. Number one, I've decided that when I get upset about something or when something riles me up, I'm not going to do anything about it right away. One of the things that happens with me, maybe it happens with you, is that when someone makes me angry or says something that upsets me or says something that I just completely disagree with, my first reaction is to correct them. My first reaction is to straighten them out or defend myself or tell them where they're wrong or whatever the case is. My first reaction is just to do something about it right now. But you know what I've figured out? If I leave it alone, most of the time, it goes away. If I don't react, then most of the time the thing that got me really upset 2 days later doesn't get me really upset anymore. I don't even care. I'm only mad in the moment. And if I just let it go, 2 days later I don't even care. It's kind of like this. When we were first married, Sarah and I didn't have a lot of money, and every time our car broke down, it was a very big deal. We were counting every penny, and so every time something went wrong, it was a huge issue. But right now, if I think back on some of the things that happened with our vehicles, it doesn't mean a thing to me. I don't even care. It doesn't, whatever. We had to fix a vehicle. We got through it. It's over. No big deal. We're still here, right? Some of the things that I thought were huge deals way back then are nothing to me now. I don't even hardly remember them. A lot of times it's like that. In our daily lives too. We get upset about things just because we react too quickly. If we would just take a deep breath, let it go for a little while, we would just not even care. I think that's true. So I'm going to take some deep breaths and I'm just going to let some things ride for a while. That's one thing. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lessen my time on social media. Now, hear me say that I'm lessening my time. I don't want to be one of those old geezers that says, I hate social media, put your phone away forever. Social media can be really good, and it can connect us to a lot of people in lots of really good ways, but social media can also just make me frustrated. Here's the thing. I wouldn't invite the 10 grouchiest, meanest, most unhappy people I know. I wouldn't invite those 10 people to my living room to gripe for an hour. I would never say, come on over and just gripe about anything you want to complain about. And yet, I open Facebook and I spend 45 minutes reading everybody's complaints about everything they don't like, about everything in the world. And I don't need that. I doubt you do either. And so I'm going to lessen my time on social media. And I've started doing it. I've left my phone in the house when I've been out working in my garage. And 5 hours later I come back in and check it. And guess what? The important things I check and respond to. And in those 5 hours I really didn't miss much else. So I'm going to learn to take some deep breaths and just not react to everything. I don't have to fix everything. And I'm going to limit my time in places where people are mostly just grouchy, because I don't need more to be grouchy about. The proverb writer had a lot of good things to say about controlling yourself, about responding well, about not letting other people's emotions push your buttons and make you respond in ways you don't want to. And so I want to end this by sharing with you 6 things that the proverb writer said. And you can look these up later if you like. Proverbs chapter 12 verse 16. Proverbs 12:16 says, "Fools show their annoyance at once, but the prudent overlook an insult." He's saying, take a deep breath. He says, fools show their annoyance at once, but the prudent, the wise, the smart overlook insults. Proverbs 14:29 says, "Whoever is patient has great understanding, but whoever is quick-tempered displays folly." Proverbs 16:32, "Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city." You want to be strong? Get control of yourself. Proverbs 19:11, "Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it's to his glory to overlook an offense." Proverbs 25:28 says, "A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls." A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. It's pushed around by everybody. And Proverbs 29:11, "A fool gives full vent to his rage, but a wise man quietly holds it back." I don't want to leave you with the impression that I'm always yelling and screaming and upset. In fact, that happens very infrequently. But lots of times I'm frustrated. I'm upset by things that actually really have nothing to do with me. So this year, here's my resolution. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to decide how I feel. I'm going to decide how I react. I'm going to decide what I listen to. I'm going to decide what really is going to upset me, if anything, is I'm going to take a deep breath and let some things ride. They'll sort themselves out. And I'm going to stay away from the news and social media and a bunch of complainers, because there's too many good things in the world to waste my time with that. That's my New Year's resolution. I'm not just going to be reactionary. Have you made any resolutions? I'd sure like to hear yours. Write them down for me. Send me them and let me know. Maybe we can help and encourage each other to have a better year.